Dubai was supposed to be the city where the rich never left. Zero income tax, golden visas, private islands, supercars idling outside seven-star hotels. For almost a decade, every serious millionaire on the planet had Dubai on their map. It was the safe bet, the obvious move. The new Monaco, the new Singapore, the new Switzerland, all rolled into one shiny skyline in the desert. But something strange started happening in the last 18 months. Quietly, without press releases, without farewell posts on Instagram, the same millionaires who flew in on private jets are flying out. Family offices are closing. Penthouses in Palm Jumeirah are being relisted at a discount. Wealth managers in Zurich and London are getting calls they did not expect from clients asking the same question: is it time to leave Dubai? And the answer, more and more often, is yes. This is not a rumor. It is showing up in the data, in the property listings, in the immigration numbers, in the private banking flows. The golden wealth era of Dubai, the one that started around 2020 and exploded after the war in Ukraine, is not just slowing down, it is ending. And the reasons why are not the ones you would expect. To understand what is happening now, you have to remember what Dubai promised. The deal was simple. You bring your money, your business, your family. Dubai gives you no income tax, no capital gains tax, almost no questions asked, a long-term residency visa, world-class infrastructure, and a lifestyle that no European capital could match. For a Russian oligarch frozen out of London, for a crypto founder running from regulators, for an Indian industrialist tired of paperwork, for a British executive sick of 45% tax brackets, Dubai was not a city. It was an escape hatch. And between 2022 and 2024, that escape hatch was the most popular destination on earth for millionaires. More high-net-worth individuals moved to the United Arab Emirates in those years than to any other country in the world. Not the United States. Not Switzerland. Not Singapore. Dubai. The numbers were staggering, and the city leaned into it. New towers, new marinas, new schools, new clinics, new private members clubs popping up every quarter. The whole city was being rebuilt for people with 8 figures in the bank. But here is the thing nobody talks about. When you build an entire economy around attracting the wealthy, you create a very specific problem. You become dependent on them staying. And the wealthy, by nature, do not stay anywhere. They move. They move when conditions change. They move when the math stops working. And right now, in Dubai, the math is starting to stop working. That is the second mover, the one nobody saw coming, and we will get there. But first, the trigger. The thing that started the unraveling. In June 2023, the United Arab Emirates introduced a federal corporate tax for the first time in its modern history. 9% on business profits above a certain threshold. By global standards, 9% is nothing. In France, it is 25%. In the United States, it is 21% plus state taxes. In India, it can climb above 30%. 9% should have been a non-event, but it was not the rate that mattered. It was the signal. For decades, the entire pitch of Dubai had been built on one word: zero. Zero income tax. Zero corporate tax. Zero hassle. The moment that zero became a 9, something cracked in the psychology of the people who had moved there. Because if the government can introduce 9% today, what stops them from making it 15% tomorrow? What stops them from extending it to personal income in 5 years? Wealthy people do not move countries because of taxes alone. They move because of certainty. And the certainty just got smaller. Family offices started running new spreadsheets. Lawyers in DIFC started getting nervous calls. And the smartest money, the kind that always moves first, started looking at the door. But the corporate tax was just the opening crack. Now here is where it gets interesting. And this is the real reason the wave is reversing. The cost of being rich in Dubai has exploded. Not the cost of living in general. The cost of living the life that was promised. A villa in Emirates Hills that rented for 400,000 dirhams a year in 2021 now goes for over $1 million. School fees at the top international academies have doubled. A private berth at Dubai Harbor for a decent yacht costs more than mooring in Monaco. Restaurants that used to be reasonable are now charging Mayfair prices, and the wine list comes with a 50% markup on top because of import duties. The cars, the watches, the helicopters, the private jet hours, all of it inflated faster in Dubai than in any other luxury hub on the planet. And here is the punchline that millionaires are starting to whisper to each other in private dining rooms. If I am paying London prices, why am I not living in London? If I am paying Geneva prices, why am I not in Geneva? Dubai stopped being cheap luxury. It became expensive luxury without the 400 years of culture that justifies it elsewhere. And when a billionaire sits down with his wife and his accountant and runs the numbers, the conclusion is uncomfortable. Dubai is no longer a deal. It is a lifestyle subscription, and the price keeps going up. And if you think that is the end of it, wait, because the next part is where the real story lives. The geopolitical shield that made Dubai feel untouchable is starting to look thinner than people thought. For years, the United Arab Emirates sold itself as Switzerland in the desert. Neutral, safe, quiet. A place where your money would not be asked uncomfortable questions. That worked beautifully when the world was relatively stable. But the world is not stable anymore. Sanctions enforcement has tightened. The Financial Action Task Force put the UAE on its gray list in 2022, and although they came off it in early 2024, the experience left a mark. Banks in Dubai now ask for source of funds documentation that would have been unthinkable 5 years ago. Wire transfers that used to clear in hours now sit for weeks. Russian money, which flooded in after 2022, is now being unwound under Western pressure. Crypto founders who came to escape regulators are finding that regulators have followed them. The discreet, frictionless financial paradise that was sold in glossy brochures simply does not exist the way it used to. And for a certain kind of wealthy person, the kind whose entire reason for being in Dubai was discretion, the appeal is collapsing. They came for a vault. They got a glass display case. Now combine all of this. The corporate tax that broke the zero tax myth, the cost of living that wiped out the financial advantage, the compliance pressure that erased the privacy advantage, and then add one more layer, the one that is quietly the most damaging of all, the competition. Because while Dubai was busy raising its prices and tightening its rules, other places were doing the opposite. Italy launched a flat tax of €200,000 a year for new wealthy residents, and it is filling Milan with Saudi and Indian families. Greece offers a similar scheme at $100,000. Portugal, even after rolling back its golden visa, still attracts huge wealth through other channels. Singapore is aggressively courting family offices with stability and rule of law. Thailand launched a long-term resident visa for wealthy individuals with low tax obligations. Even Saudi Arabia, Dubai's neighbor, is now offering its own version of the same package, with deeper pockets and a 100-year vision. Suddenly, Dubai is not the only door. It is one of many, and when you are choosing between many, prestige starts to matter again. Italy has prestige, Switzerland has prestige, Singapore has reputation. Dubai has glass towers and a brand that, fairly or not, is starting to feel a little crowded, a little plastic, a little 1988 Tokyo at the peak of the bubble. The smartest wealth in the world is now distributing itself across multiple jurisdictions, and Dubai's share of that pie is shrinking for the first time in 15 years. What does this look like on the ground? It looks like real estate agents in Palm Jumeirah seeing their phones ring less. It looks like the secondary luxury market, watches, cars, art, softening in a city that used to absorb everything. It looks like restaurants that were impossible to book 3 months in advance, now having tables on a Thursday night. It looks like school waiting lists getting shorter. It looks like the quiet conversation in a marina cafe where one wealthy resident tells another, "I am setting up something in Milan, just in case." None of this is dramatic. There is no crash. There are no fire sales on the front page of the Financial Times. That is exactly why most people have not noticed. Wealth does not leave a city the way tourists do. It leaves slowly, account by account, jet by jet, family by family. By the time the headlines catch up, the move is already done. And in 2026, the move is already happening. The strange truth is that Dubai will be fine, in the way that only Dubai knows how to be fine. The skyline will keep growing. The branding will keep working. New waves of wealthy expats will come. But the era is changing. The era where Dubai was the obvious answer for any millionaire on the planet, the no-brainer, the default, that era is closing. What replaces it is something more normal, more competitive, more like every other premium city in the world. A place you choose with calculation, not with reflex. A place that has to earn the wealthy, not just receive them. And for a city built on the idea of being unmissable, becoming optional is its own quiet kind of crisis. So, if you are watching this, and you are thinking about moving to Dubai, this might surprise you. The city is not what it was 3 years ago. Not in price, not in privacy, not in promise. The deal that defined a generation of global wealth is being rewritten, and the people who shaped it are the first ones reading the new contract and walking away. The desert mirage is not disappearing. It is just losing its monopoly. And in the world of money, monopolies that end never come back the same way. If you want to understand what is really happening in cities around the world, the shifts that move trillions before the news catches on, subscribe. Because the next chapter of the global wealth map is being written right now, and Dubai is no longer the only name on it.